Hello, everyone. It's time again for Spiritism, a closer look. You are on Kardec Radio. Luiz Lima here, your host. Today, broadcasting from Brazil. Usually, we broadcast from Orlando, Florida. Today, we are broadcasting from Brazil. And as I always like to tell you in the beginning, you have our contacts here so you can get in touch with us for comments, questions, suggestions, request new topics for us to bring over here and discuss. So feel free to get in touch with us. Tonight, we are going to take a closer look at the future of life. Yeah, the future of life. You might seem a little strange, but just think like this. If we ask out there, if we go, take a microphone and go out there asking questions, and the question is, what is the future of life? What do you think it happens? We're going to get several different answers because it depends on, the culture of the society you are. It depends on yourself, of course. It depends on different things. But we can bring it all down to two different branches, if you will: materialism and spiritualism. From the materialism point of view, the future of life is death, period. Nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. So for the materialists, the materialistic point of view, the future of life is death, and that's all. So the question is, when you say life, do you mean life as a person or life as a spirit? Because life as a person falls into the materialistic paradigm. Life as a person means materialistic view. It has an end. It ends when you die, as we say, or discarnate, or pass away, whatever you want to use. So when the physical body stops the movements of life. So that's life as a person. Now, life as a spirit doesn't have an end. And that's what Spiritism studies, and that's what we learn in Spiritism. To consider life, to understand life as a spirit, not life as a person. So to discuss from the spiritist or even spiritualist point of view, to discuss the future of life means that we have to kind of transcend back to the past, because one thing comes after another. You have a life, then you die, then you have another life, then you die. That's the logic of reincarnation. So I'm going to start, discussing the issue by saying this. As we know, we are co-creators. And one of the things that we co-create are the problems and the adverse situations that we find ourselves in. Unfortunately, but it's our co-creation. We make that happen. We are co-creators. Now, think about this. Think about the logic that we are going to bring up. Every creation is smaller than the creator, regardless. Any creation is smaller than the creator. So our problems, our adverse situations that we put ourselves in, they are all smaller than the creator. Who is the creator? It's the co-creator. It's us. So all of our problems, all of our, all of this, life full of different things, and some of them we don't like, some of them we have a hard time with, they are all co-created by us. Thus, as a consequence, they are all smaller than we are. As such, if they are all smaller than we are, it means we always, no exception, always have control over them. Although we might at times not perceive it, or we might not be able to properly assess the situation and understand this. However, it doesn't take it away. We always have control on the situations that we find ourselves in because we put ourselves into these situations. We co-created these situations. So everything that we find, the situation that we find in ourselves in today, they are consequences of something that comes from the past. No matter how far in the past, it could be a few hours, it could be days, it could be years, it could be a lifetime, it could be more than one life, it could be several lives ago. So we are here to overcome the past, not to live in it. We already lived that past. We are here now to offset, to overcome that past. With that in mind, things such as like self-destruction, self-infliction, they don't make any sense because they do not make us a better version of ourselves. We are only a better version of ourselves if we overcome the past, not repeat it. Repeating the past doesn't make us any better. You see, driving ourselves to the ground doesn't make sense if you think about having a better life. Being a victim of ourselves makes no sense. By the same token, placing ourselves within the reach of evil makes no sense because it doesn't let us be better. It's not that we are not going to live in a place where evil is around. That's what the earth is for us to live within such a place, but never let it take over. We can't let evil take over. We are in control because our problems are smaller than we are. So the past, all the past lives and our spiritual history, which might be even a better term than past, is more precise. So our spiritual history or past represents certainty, something that was certain because it did happen. It took place somewhere in time. It did happen. So it is something certain. For a new life, we need to challenge that certainty. For a better life, we need to choose creativity over certainty and make things different. Creativity, make different than what we did before. Creativity over certainty. That will provide us tools to move on, to drift away from the past until the past becomes irrelevant. Just think about Jesus, for example. At one point in one of his life, many lives ago, he was just like us, just like you and me, dealing with the same struggles, going through the same problems and similar situations. However, when he incarnated, he never showed any of that. He never said, "Oh my God, I used to be like you. Oh my God." You're not going to find this anywhere in any of the Gospels, in anything that was ever written about him, because that's not who he was. He did not live in the past. So you see, it's an interesting thing. It's very interesting. There is no backspace in life's keyboard. What you do is done. The past cannot be erased. What is done is done. All we can do is deal with that. Deal with that. Wrongdoings will become expiations at one point. Wrongdoings will become expiations, and we're going to have to offset our wrongdoings. We're going to have to deal with that somehow. So certainty has to give way to creativity. And how do we look ahead with more of this, more creativity, less certainty, or at least with, being certain that things are going to get better? We need faith. We need faith. Now, when you compare faith and the materialistic view that, for a materialistic paradigm, everything needs to be proved. Proof denies faith. Absolutely. Proof denies faith. You see, if you need to have proof of anything, meaning you have very little faith, there is no need to micro-validate the world along the way. Things will just happen. You see, very often, when I mean we, a lot of us in humanity, the great majority, we come up with this idea of fixing the universe, fixing the world. I want to fix the universe. Hello. Who said that the universe is wrong and needs to be fixed? Where's this written? You see, we got to come up with these questions. That's the Spiritist philosophy, thinking differently than we ever thought before. Otherwise, we're going to be the same forever and ever. So where does it come from, this idea that we need to fix the universe? Isn't that very arrogant? I need to fix the universe. So somebody made the universe wrong. Who made the universe? Who created the universe? The Creator. Isn't that a little bit too much arrogance from our part, myself included, all of us? So where does this come from? And I would say a straight, easy answer is it comes from our inability to be part of the universe and think that we are the whole universe. If I think that I am the whole universe, yeah, I can move things around, fix here and there. Oh yeah, let me just do it. I can't do it because I'm not the whole universe. You can't do it. Our friends and family members can't do it. Our enemies can't do it. We are all part of the universe. We are not the whole universe, the entire universe. So, because we can't fix the universe at the level that we are here, we have a lot of these bad emotions, these passions, resentment, hatred, rage, all of these things, revenge. And the next question is, I don't like to feel those things, and you don't either, I'm sure. They're not good. They don't make us feel good. So how long do they last for? Hatred, resentment. How long do they last for? Answer, for the time that we decide to. It's our pick. It can be a few minutes on a situation that, brought up, let's just say hatred. It can be a few minutes. It can be a few hours. It can be a couple of years. It can be decades. It can be my entire life. And it can be several lives over and over again. I can carry over from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. It's our pick. It's whatever we subscribe to. And that is the great answer of all. What's the future of life? It's whatever I subscribe to. That's the future of life. You see, if suffering is really good and fun, if we like to suffer, if we're very pleased about it, we can stay on it for as long as I want. It's a personal choice. Personal and not transferable. It's a personal, not transferable choice. And everyone takes in a different way. Everyone, has its own, makes their own choices. It's not the same for everyone. There is no one size fits all kind of thing. So for a better life, we should look at ourselves, not as we are today, but as we want to be. If I look at myself with the eyes that this is who I want to be in the future, it makes it a lot easier. Looking back, I was this, I was that all the time. It makes us live in the past. And it doesn't help anything. Because one day, like I said before, one day the past is going to be irrelevant. It might be, some of our past might be irrelevant today because we're still dealing with struggles and so, but one day it's all going to be irrelevant. So why not live as if all the wrongdoings and the mistakes, were just put in the back burner, forget about them, let's do something different, let's do something better. You see, life is not scripted in the sense that the facts are already all arranged. Life's not scripted, it's structured by ourselves before we come in. And it allows for changes. It allows for changes. It all depends on how I want to live, how I want to do it. If we were to take a time-elapsed view of our lives, every tear along the way would have a weight. Every tear has a weight. And a portion of that weight is knowledge. We learn through pain. So every tear along the way carries a weight. Part of that weight is knowledge. So when we prepare our life, we need to prepare in such a way that we are going to grow, not just be sorry about everything we've done. From the Spiritist point of view, life is the context that we create to become a better version of ourselves, to improve, to evolve, to advance morally, intellectually. So life, as we know it, it's this context that we as spirits create to make it happen for better, to allow for me, you for yourself, me for myself, to grow, to be better, to liberate from this awful past that we all had, all of us had. Nobody gets to perfection before starting from simple and ignorance and going through everything in between. No one. So liberation to a better life means cutting ties with the past. Now, to cut ties with the past, there's a few things in here. First, it requires forgiveness. It requires removing the shackles that ties us to the past. Carrying the shackles is living in the past. We cannot shut the doors to the past once and for all if we do not forgive. I can forgive and offset this, settle, shut the door, and move ahead. We cannot move ahead if we don't do this. Just like, for example, if you go out there on a starry night and you look up to the sky, beautiful, beautiful stars, everything, blinking and nice and nice and nice. You see, you can look at that and see, oh, it's dark. And you can look at the very same thing and see, oh, look how many lights. It's almost like a gestaltic picture, one of these pictures that it can be two things at a time. It depends on your reference. If your reference is dark or darkness, you're going to look at the dark space in between the stars, and that's what matters to you. So you're going to see, oh, it's dark. Now, if your focus is on the light, you're going to see, wow, how many lights. You don't even care about the space in between, which is dark. And that's the logic that we should apply to our past. You see, the past, the dark, is what makes life to light up. It's what makes the future to exist. But I cannot only and simply look at the dark, at the past, and I have to move ahead. I have to move on. All of us. So when we create our life before incarnation, when we prepare the context that we are going to be in, we need to look at the past as a reference. Okay, these are the things that I need to offset. And how do I offset? I need to be better here, 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 and here. So we settle towards betterness. We settle towards betterness. Because if we don't do this, we're going to be living in the past. I like the story that I heard from one of the greatest men that ever lived here in terms of technical accomplishments. 12 men set foot on the earth, on the moon. 12 men set foot on the moon. One of them was astronaut Edgar Mitchell. He used to say something very interesting. He said, when I went up to the moon, and he was one of these guys who got out of, the starship, and he actually stepped on the surface of the moon. So he used to say this. This is him telling us. He discarnated about 6 or 7 years ago. But this is what he said. I got to the moon. I set my foot in. I look at the soil to make sure that I had, I was stepping on something solid, that I have my feet on the ground per se. And I did. I recognized that. And then I look ahead. Everything is stars all over the place. I look to my right side, same. I look to my left side, same. I look around 360, all the same. I look up, all the same. Then he said, at that moment, he's stepping on the moon right there as an astronaut. This guy, technical, super technical, genius, all of those. He looks at this thing, the situation where he finds himself. And he says, wow, everything is in peace. Nothing is out of place here. Nothing is wrong. Look at all these lights. No planet is attacking planet. No planet is, I want your place. You are in a better spot than I am. And so get out of here. I want to take a place. There is no such a thing. So this is what he said. Everything in the universe was in peace. The whole set of problems were on the blue planet. Everything wrong was on the blue planet, nothing else. Everything was in order, in peace. So that really shocked him, that got through his spine. So he came back from the moon. He, just finished the mission, a few months wrapping up the mission. He quit NASA and he opened the Institute for Noetic Sciences, where they study knowledge, acquiring knowledge. And he was a director and president for the rest of his life. Like I said, he discarnated maybe 6 or 7 years ago. So when I heard from him on television saying this, I go like, wow, there's a lot of philosophy here. There's a lot of knowledge here. There's a lot of nutrition for the soul here on this guy's. It wasn't even a speech. It was just, on an interview. And I go like, wow. So you see, he is on the moon where we here on Earth say everything is dark out there. He looks at it. He doesn't see darkness. He sees a million lights. And that lighten up his life. He made that his commitment in life. I'm going to do the best that I can to lighten up people's lives. And that's what he did to the last day. So for me, this story means a lot. Hopefully it means something to you too, but think about it. When things are difficult, when the day is not going very well as planned, when we need peace, just go to your corner, just concentrate and think that you are on the moon looking at this wonderful, infinite amount of peace. We can't measure peace mathematically or as an amount, but it's a way of saying things. Just close your eyes and think about it. You will bring you peace, because with our eyes closed, it's easier to look at the light than looking at the dark. Regardless, once again, life is the context that we create, or co-create, better saying, to allow us to become a better version of ourselves. So I better do it right. I better do it in a way that it makes it easier for me to be better, not to be experiencing and, complaining and whining about the past. Thank you very much for being with us today, participating with us today. Spiritism Closer Look will be here next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Kardec Radio. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time.